NMLS 114937.
Yes. Welcome in. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. It's driven by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And it's a Wide Berth Wednesday, so we're kind of loaded for bear here today. And I'm anxious to see what direction Jackson takes us. You got the tournament starting up last night. Got the Blues playing what was a fun game to watch. Disappointing result, but I enjoyed watching it. Playoff intensity, but then some disappointed self-inflicted errors against a team you can't do that against. Kyle Gibson's got a 10.80 ERA, but he says it's okay because he's working on pitches. Illinois takes on Boyd State tomorrow. You talk about the tournament. I know you wanted to talk about the Valspar and the Snake Pit. I don't know. What are you going to do with this Wide Berth Wednesday? It's up to you.
I'm going to fade Copperhead and the Valspar for the first segment, but maybe around the third or fourth.
Third or fourth segment, Valspar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the Blues are the lead after a loss to the Avalanche, but a game that seems like, despite the loss, people are still encouraged by the effort, and they still think a playoff spot is attainable.
Plus 8, you bet $100, and the Blues make the playoffs, you get $850.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. What did you make of the game last night? Are you still encouraged by the team? Are you still thinking that a playoff spot is attainable? Jordan Kyrou's penalty last night. What say you there, Tim?
Okay. Jackson, it's tough for me to think that someone might know more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's tough for me to think that people who are actually playing in the NHL and coaching in the NHL might know more than me, someone who has recently been taking skating lessons and has had all videos of said lessons destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore to come on the radio, on the Blues radio station, and then spout passionate takes like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. But I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're about to throw a whole wrench in this facade we got going here.
I listened to the post-game comments last night, and yeah, they were very encouraged by the caliber of play against a great team. But if the goal is to get into the playoffs, and I absolutely believe that, of course, is what the goal is, yeah, you played a good game, but still the reason why you lost when it was all said and done were some self-inflicted wounds. And I just can't be in a celebratory mood because, yeah, Vegas didn't win last night, but you know what? The Wild, now past the Blues, they won last night, and the Kings won last night. And so when you're in the spot like the Blues are in, you don't have the luxury of going, well, I mean, it was Colorado, so we kind of expected it. They had won 6 in a row coming into St. Louis. It's one thing if you go, okay, there was one of Ratnan's goals, I think the game winner, actually. I mean, Jordan Binnington, it doesn't matter. That was just a great goal. It's a power play. What are you going to do? I think that's the one I'm thinking of. It's just sick talent. But Buchnevich, the giveaway, Kyrou, the penalty. And I know some fans were like, that wasn't a penalty. Drew Bannister said after the game, it was a penalty. You can't be doing that at that time in the game. It's just super, I don't know. I'm disappointed in it. And I can't spin it otherwise. I suppose if this were November or December, I may be able to, but you're not in a position where you can. So now, I'll tell you what that does. You have to win the next 3 games.
Right.
You have to win the next 3 games. You have to get all 6 points. And I suppose if they were playing the Senators, Blue Jackets, and Blackhawks, it wouldn't be that way. But they're playing the Senators, bad team, got to win that game. And then you're playing the Wild, and you can't give up the 2 points and have the 4-point swing there. And then you're playing the Golden Knights on Monday in St. Louis, and you can't have the 4-point swing there. So now you are really in a spot where you got to win. And the thing is, they played well enough to beat a great team last night and carry that momentum into Ottawa tomorrow night. So I understand they played well, and that's encouraging. But you're not in a spot where you can have those kinds of wins, being the moral victory kind, at this point in the season. So I don't know. But I listened to the post game. I heard what Drew Bannister had to say. I think Braden Shen, if I'm not mistaken, also.
Braden Shen.
That they liked the way that they played. But here's the thing. Maybe I'm off. I, of course, don't think I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't say the things I say. But you can't afford that. And you can't have... The other thing that stands out to me is that your top players didn't play well. Mm-hmm. You can't have that.
Right.
Meanwhile, McKernan, what does he have, a 16, 17-game point streak? And Ratnanen gets his 7th career hat trick. And God, has he dominated the Blues. So their top players did play well. The Blues did not. So I'm a little... I don't know. I'm not being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, but you can't afford to have that happen. You're 3-3 with a great team. You came back from a deficit. You can't have that stuff going on. I mean, truly, they were on the verge. I mean, a matter of inches away from 4-2 with Jake Neighbors, and then didn't get that goal. And then you have Kairou's penalty, and now it's 3-3. So it's a totally different world in a matter of seconds there. So that's where I am, Jackson. I don't know. I'll ask, do you agree or disagree? But I think you were probably watching the Howard game.
I was. But regardless, I like what you said about, it's an effort, a game last night that you'd be encouraged by and honestly happy about in November and December. But at this point in the season, moral victories.
Don't have that luxury.
Yeah, they're long in the rearview mirror. So it's literally win or go home. So 3 games, Senators, Wild, VGK. This is the time.
It's got to be. It has to be the time.
This time next week.
And I will say this, and I think it was Joey Vitale saying on Chris Kerber's podcast, which I'm a huge fan of, as I say, I feel like daily on this show. Listened to this morning, probably around 5:30. If you play like you played last night against Ottawa and against Minnesota on Saturday in Minnesota, you get 3 points at least, if not all 4. So from that standpoint, that's great. But it's not a point in the season in which you can afford to lose those. And yeah, Vegas lost, but again, Minnesota won and LA won. So yeah, it's that was there. It doesn't surprise me. They played an overall great game. Or very good game, depending on whatever you want to describe. But there were some mistakes that happened that cost them a chance to really, God, can you imagine going in on a 5-game streak that includes wins over Boston and wins over a couple of playoff teams, possible playoff teams anyway, in LA and Minnesota, and you're going in against a team like Ottawa. God, there'd be some buzz about that. And you can bounce back, carry that same type of game into Ottawa, and you should get 2 points tomorrow night. But I just can't shake a bad giveaway and the top players not performing well. You just can't have that happening. So anyway, that's where I am on it, Jackson. And that led to a discussion. Jeremy Rutherford was in studio with us on TMA from about 9 o'clock to 9:20. And he said he's going to write this story on what is actually better big picture for the organization right now. And this is something that Kevin Lorenz, former TMA producer, and we text often about the Blues, and he texted me this morning the same theme that JR is going to write about, and that is it more beneficial to the team, to the organization, and their goal of getting a championship, not just getting into the playoffs, of course, but to get into the playoffs and have what happened, for example, in 2009 was the example he cited. The Blues made a charge in 2009, got into the playoffs, played some really good games against Vancouver, but they lost. I think a couple of them were overtime losses, and they were swept. And let's say that they didn't make that charge and then they would have gotten a better pick. Would that have benefited the organization? But you talk to guys, and David Backus was on with BK and Ferrario, and they talk about the value of seeing, number one, the intensity of the playoff, the gap between them and the guys who are advancing, in that case, the Sedin brothers and that Vancouver team that would play in a cup final. I don't think the 2009 team did, but within a couple of years they did and lost to the Bruins. And that ratchets it up and then, lays a foundation for understanding what it takes to be a championship team. And when Kelly Chase and Barrett Jackman were in studio on TMA, both of them said, they could get hot and pull an upset in part because of Binnington. But the bigger thing for the team to get into the playoffs is to just get the experience of being in the playoffs for some of these young guys. At the same time, one could make a case some of these young guys might not be around by the time the core that is so young right now that most of them aren't even with the Blues get to a point where the team really is competing for a Stanley Cup in whatever year that would be. Most likely not 2025. Point being, it's still a couple or 3 years away. So how much value is there really in the run? And maybe it's too abstract of a question, but I see where he's going with it. It was the first thought that Kevin had when he was texting me this morning, because here are the Blues playing overall a very good game last night, and they still are in a spot where, candidly, yeah, you had the giveaway by Buchnevich, you had the bad penalty by Kyrou, but they also got some breaks that the Avalanche missed some really good scoring opportunities. One, it looked like it was a Binnington save, but it was off the side of the net. And then there was another one, it might have been Ratnan as well, hitting the crossbar. Point being, as well as the Blues played, you still see the gap between them and the teams. And there are 3 others, I think, in the West that you can make a case are at that level with the Jets, the Stars, and the Canucks, that it's going to take a miracle for the Blues to go on some kind of run. So therefore, if that's the case, does it benefit them to not get in the playoffs, which is a kind of counterintuitive? Or is the value of just getting into the postseason outweigh any draft pick that you would get? So that's the question that we pose here at the outset of Balloon Party. 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line, and of course the YouTube chat, 101 ESPN. Balloon Party Mafia active as the day is long, and we're grateful for that. You can go in there and talk it over with legends like Tiny PP and Eric Nickens and Droid Effects.
Jen Phone.
Yeah. Jen Phone called into TMA today to prove that she indeed was a lady, and did not want to see one of our cohorts on TMA naked. And that's Ken Strode, and that's up to you if you want to text in if you would like to. He probably would DM me a pic. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the second segment of Balloon Party. And Jackson, what is the next topic here? Why don't you get better at teasing?
Oh, Cardinal baseball coming up.
Cardinal baseball. How do you do? We're 8 days away from the opener, but the Dodgers got a game under their belt earlier this morning in Korea.
Yeah, we're a little concerned that they're going to be game ready, And that
they play 2 regular season games, and they come back, and then they play some spring training games, and then they play the Cardinals.
Very odd.
That's what we got. This is Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Munganess, St. Louis Acura. Munganess, Burkhardt Alton Toyota. Online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. Presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN and the wonderful 101 ESPN YouTube channel. The place I go to get my cars, the place I would love to see you go to get your cars as well. And then if you do, I know you'll be working with some wonderful people like Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, Peter Munganast, and then in the service department, Ryan Seiberg. So many wonderful people that we've gotten to know over the number of years that Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota have been sponsors of TMA, the Tim McKernan Show podcast, and now Balloon Party. And you can go shopping right now, even if you're not going to the dealerships, by going to stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com. And then you're going, I got to get my car serviced, but I can get my car from Munganast. No problem. They're going to service your car even if you didn't get it from there. Go online at stlouisacura.com, or you can go online at altontoyota.com. It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
With weather changing, March is a critical time to check your home's windows. If yours are cracked or leaking or won't stay open or closed, then it's time to call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free windows. There's no limit to how much you could save. Plus, you can save even more with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months. Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty and can be installed in less than 1 day. With proven quality and service, it's no wonder thousands of homeowners have trusted Window Nation for their homes, and you can too. So if your old finicky windows and high energy costs from this winter are cutting deep into your finances, don't miss out. With an unlimited buy two, get two free, plus 0 down, 0 interest, and make 0 payments for 24 months, you cannot afford to wait. Plus, get a house of windows, and you can get a free pair of Cardinals tickets. It's easy. Just call 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
Strap yourself in. This is the Balloon Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson on 101 ESPN.
Driven by Munganast and Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
Jackson, as you know, the Great Bape Auto Detailing is my spirit animal.
That's nice. That is nice.
In the Air Comfort Service text line. And I'm trying to follow him as my moral compass. And he said, you kind of ignore the Air Comfort Service text line. And we made you.
Mm-hmm. Right. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
And I always say, no, my dad being able to sell advertising made me. But he is right in part. And I read this text, and it's a wonderful text. And I don't want to knock the Little Piddles Wide Berth Wednesday
knock
off
it all
track.
you like.
But he says, Tim, what would you do if 4 people behind you at Enterprise Center last night start bad talking the Blues at the game, also slamming the Cardinals and the City team? It's in the 636. And it's a good question specifically for me because I'm known as a brawler.
Yes. So I don't know why I giggled there.
Right. I know.
That was uncalled for.
And yeah, if somebody starts talking about the Blues or the Cardinals or City and I don't like it, I'll immediately get up, which is going to scare the hell out of them.
Right.
Just because they're going to be like, I thought Mickey Carroll passed. And I'll say, you said what about Jordan Kyrou's effort?
Yeah. Clenched fist. Yeah, you have you're starting to clench.
And I'll have my 2 kids with me, and I want to be a good influence.
Right, of course. Yeah, you want to see
my wife, and this will be a great turn on for her to watch me get my ass beaten.
No one messes with Dad.
Right. No one talks bad about giveaways in your own zone. No, I'd probably continue to sit there and scroll Instagram looking for Ella Reese's latest post, to be real honest with everybody. That's exactly what I would do.
Honestly, yeah, 100%. And like finding the strategic time so I can leave before the traffic hits. Because
as I told my sons, it's a 2-period game during the week, so that's just kind of the way. That's how the strategy's been employed. Jackson, what is this Cardinal question you deep teased and has everybody in St. Louis anticipating?
Yeah, everybody's on the edge of their seats for this first Cardinal question of the Little Piddles Wide Berth Wednesday. It seems like the consensus with baseball pundits is that the Ollie Marmol extension is confusing.
Oh, we're going to have the Ken Rosenthal audio?
We do.
All right, yeah, I'd love to hear it. This is Ken Rosenthal. He has a podcast called Foul Territory, and this is what he had to say.
I can't recall seeing one positive comment about the 2-year extension that Ollie Marmol signed through 2026. And in fact, if we were talking a week ago about managers on the hot seat, he would have been pretty high on the list coming off the season that they had last year, one of the worst seasons in recent Cardinals history. Aaron Boone's on that list. Dave Roberts is on that list. There are others on that list, but Ollie Marmol would have been on it. So what the Cardinals did was decide that they did not want him going into the season as a lame duck. They did not want that being a distraction. They believe in Ollie Marmol, and they want him to be their guy. It's rather interesting because he has not proven that he is a winning major league manager. First year was pretty good. Second year, not so good. A lot of different issues came up. He's someone who has a lot of ability, no doubt. Smart guy, has leadership qualities. No one's questioning that. But a lot of smart guys with leadership qualities haven't succeeded as managers. So we don't know yet if Ollie Marmol is going to succeed as a manager. But the Cardinals placed this bet. And I wonder a little bit if they placed this bet to quiet the noise that would have arisen if the Cardinals struggled and Yadier Molina was lurking and Albert Pujols, who wants to manage, was lurking. It could have been a little bit of an issue. So I was surprised to see this, yes. I'm not saying I hate it because I don't know what to think.
That's Ken Rosenthal on his podcast Foul Territory. And Jackson, just the first 5 seconds again, if you could.
I can't recall seeing one positive comment about the 2-year extension that Ollie Marmol signed through 2026. And in fact...
Yeah, it's tough.
So sometimes the Venn diagram of the local Cardinal frustration, in which the Ollie Marmol contract extension received 10% approval via my scientific Twitter poll, and the national media, national baseball writers and broadcasters, it overlaps. And the Ollie Marmol extension is one of them. This whole thing, well, you don't want to have a lame duck. Baseball teams don't have. Aaron Boone's a lame duck in New York. And guess what? If the Yankees win, especially with the questions surrounding Garrett Cole, they're going to keep Aaron Boone. The core issue is, why are they doing it? And then Rosenthal gives the theory that we talked a little bit about on Monday in particular, which is the noise surrounding Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols becoming the manager. And I got to tell you something here. Let me talk specifically about that. Now this is Ken Rosenthal saying this. If the Cardinals would go that direction, as entertaining as it would be, and it would be entertaining, you are doing something relatively similar to what you did right after Tony La Russa retired and hiring somebody who's never majored or managed at the major league level again. And just because you may like Yadier Molina more or Albert Pujols more than Mike Matheny, that doesn't mean that they would be able to do it. And I don't know why you would do that. So the whole discussion taking Ollie Marmol out of the equation, that really confuses me. There was a period of time, Matheny, Osmus, where you had these former players, catchers in particular, getting opportunities at the major league level, and for the most part, it didn't really work out. Osmus has gotten multiple chances. Matheny got the 2 with the Cardinals and the Royals. And, you know, Matheny certainly had success in the regular season. I don't know how too many people could dispute that with the teams in 12, 13, and 14 and 15. Mm-hmm. But 16 and 17 were not great. In 18, he gets fired. So I don't think that is a trend that is there in which the Cardinals or anybody would be going, oh, let's bring in somebody who's never managed at the major league level before. Because when the playoffs come around, that is oftentimes where the experience shows. And whether it be Dave Roberts catching hell from some in Los Angeles, despite the fact that his team has had incredible regular seasons and also won a World Series, albeit the Asterisk World Series of 2020, or Mike Matheny here in St. Louis, the one that I hold up as an example of a guy who had never managed in the National League, was Ron Washington when they would be in St. Louis in the 2011 World Series, and Tony La Russa I felt like he ran circles around him. That's where you can separate the men from the boys, and a lot of people will point out Ollie Marmol in his first ever postseason game and decisions that still, to this day, I think 19 months later, bother people with regard to pulling Jose Quintana and Helsley coming in early, and then Helsley being left out there in the 9th inning as it imploded, and what transpired, all while not necessarily spending much time on the offense, not getting hits against the Phillies and not putting up too many runs in that very brief 2-game series. So with that said, I mean, even if that is the theory, then it would be even worse, because that means the Cardinals would be giving in to social media pressure about Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. Like, who gives a damn? So what? I mean, you're going to pay attention to that, not pay attention to the social media outcries for adding another pitcher? I don't get it. I'm telling you, I've been doing this show for 26, 27 months, TMA for 20 years. It is one of the more, when the news broke, one of the most confusing, surprising, like Berube, I didn't like it. And it didn't match up with the messaging Doug Armstrong gave in October. But, okay, I mean, I still don't like it, and I'm still not on board with it. But that to me is more sensible or less crazy than the Ollie Marmol extension. So, yeah, here's Ken Rosenthal. This isn't a guy like giving a take in St. Louis. This is Ken Rosenthal saying, I haven't heard one person say they like it.
Yeah, the Yachty and Albert thing is just so flimsy to me. Because even if you got rid of Marmol, there is no binding contract that you have to then hire Albert or Yachty, even if that's what the fan base wants.
And just because they were great ball players doesn't mean they would be great managers. I don't get this.
Exactly. And, like if the fans won't go crazy and want them, like the Cardinals are not allergic to making moves that do not appease the fan base. They literally just extended Ale Marmol.
Right.
They signed Matt Carpenter in the offseason. They've signed Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. Like they have done plenty of moves in the past that Cardinal fans don't love. Some of them worked out. Many of them have not. But there is no binding contract saying you have to get one of these two guys. So the lame duck thing makes a little more sense to me than the Yachty and Albert thing. The locker room having more confidence knowing that their guy is safe for the year, maybe I could buy that. But the Yachty and Albert thing just seems like a very flimsy stance.
Yeah, and for the record, the Cardinals haven't said that.
Right.
It's just people so confused by the move trying to figure out what it was all about. But if you want to go, well, you don't have a lame duck manager. No, you do. It's going on right now with the most storied franchise in baseball. So, I doubt the players are like, we don't have to listen to him. That's not the way that it works.
Right.
I mean, what does it say when we have these conversations about the character / leadership / competitive integrity of Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, that you need Matt Carpenter in there to make sure that there's leadership, and you need Ali Marmol to have a contract beyond 2024 in order to make sure that they're going to believe him? I just don't get this. And for the record, I don't buy into that. I think those guys are incredibly intense, committed competitors. But I don't get these things. I really don't. I would love to give you more theories. I know
that was kind of like my question was less so about like the actual Cardinal, the nuts and bolts of the extension, and more like as someone who's worked in media for a long time, like when something is so odd that not clearly, but there might be something that the public is not privy to information wise that could tell the full story. Like, how do you feel attacking a topic like that where it's
well, you always, we did the story. I mean, this is super obscure, although I suppose it's relatively sports related because you have Matthew Stafford's wife involved with this argument between Kevin Connolly of Entourage fame and his podcast network and not paying her, and Jersey Jerry of Barstool. And I mean, my reaction when we read that story from the New York Post this morning was, well, I mean, I want to hear what Kevin Connolly has to say before I start attacking him, because it's so easy when you haven't heard the other side of it. The Cardinals have spoken, Marmol has spoken, DeWitt and Mozeliak answered questions on it. Mozeliak's answer is just, I mean, what is it? Like in the same interview, we were so pleased with what we did this offseason, which really is, I think it did actually meet what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring on innings eaters and not commit to long-term dollars. Now, they're not saying that publicly, but that's what I think it was about with the television situation. So I get it. But it wasn't like, holy crap, the Cardinals have gone out and made it known to baseball that they are here to win the World Series and win the National League Central by big margins. And then all in the same breath say, but we could start off with a rough record, and then there'd be calls for Marmol's head. It's like, what kind of expectations? I'm going to do it. For 20 seconds, I'm going to draw a golf analogy, and then I'll go back to my little hovel and never talk about it. But Xander Schauffele is a guy who's known for not sleeping on a lead real well in golf. And there's some guys who have that trait. And there are other guys who are killers. Tiger Woods is an obvious one. Scotty Scheffler is becoming another one. And Xander had a lead, and he blew it again on this past Sunday. And he had a chance to tie it on the 18th hole, and then he missed the putt by 3 feet. And then there was applause, and he kind of acknowledged the gallery. And I'm thinking to myself, God, if I would have just blown a tournament yet again, especially this tournament, the last thing I'd be doing after I missed a putt, and granted it was like a monster putt, would be waving to the gallery. It's just not a killer's mentality. And I just don't know that signing Ali Marmol to an extension is not a killer mentality. It's a fear of failure in social media paranoia mentality. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I suppose if it were a one-off, I wouldn't spend, I'd go, okay, they've earned the benefit of the doubt. But that's the thing. They haven't as of late. And that's why you just throw another log on the fire of what the hell are they doing? And that, I think, is what frustrates or pisses people off or just makes them go, I'm just done with it until there's a change. Your thoughts, 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line, and of course the Air Alliance team sponsor of our studio cameras here on Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
The bracket is out. Show off your tourney knowledge and play in this year's Bracket Madness Pick'em Challenge. It's free to enter, and this year's top scorer will take home a $250 Amazon gift card and a 101 prize pack. Must be 21 plus and a resident of Missouri or Illinois. See the contest rules and get signed up to play in Bracket Madness now at 101ESPN.com.
Brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
This is Tim McKernan for the Bath Authority. If your bath or shower is old, outdated, has mold, mildew, or broken tiles, you gotta call the good people at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class customer experience. Their modern, durable tubs and showers are designed with an exclusive high-tech polymer liner. What's that mean to you? Well, is this going to be a long-term relationship with the Bath Authority? You better believe it, because you're going to have low maintenance, resistant to mold and mildew, easy to clean, and lasts for decades. Plus, comes with a lifetime warranty. Every unit is custom built. You pick the premium accents and accessories. All Bath Authority products are 100% made in the USA. Call today, 314-347-0410, and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. You're their priority at the Bath Authority. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Call today at 314-347-0410 to schedule your free in-home estimate today and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. TheBathAuthority.com. A better bath awaits.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
Kevin Moret for Mentality Men's Health. Guys, in the over 23,000 clients who came to us for testosterone treatment, most clients start so they can do it right. After helping men for over 10 years, every day we see new clients whose treatment had shortcuts on treatment and monitoring. This not only affected their results, it was also risky. Guys, work with a doctor, one who monitors your care, reviews labs, and modifies your dose. Our doctors will optimize your free testosterone and maximize you mentally and physically. Schedule in St. Louis at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
From the opening drive, the balloon party, BK and Ferrario, to the fast lane and more. If you missed anything on 101 ESPN today, get caught up with all the shows and 101 podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
This is Action Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lose last night to the Avalanche, final score of 4-3, but the Blues will be back in action tomorrow night as they take on the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa. You can catch that game right here on the home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 5 p.m. Puck drops at 6 p.m. But tonight, you can catch some NCAA Tournament action right here on 101 ESPN as Montana State takes on Grambling in the first leg of the first 4 games tonight. And then you will have Boise State taking on Colorado after that. Right here on 101 ESPN, pregame starts at 5:30 p.m. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's time to fly down to Florida for a spring training report on 101 ESPN.
Presented by E&B Granite, Brooke, Jamie, Curbs, and Bernie Federko's choice for countertops and cabinets.
Welcome back. This is Balloon Party. It's 101 ESPN. It's driven by Munga, St. Louis Acura, Munga S. Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. My name is Timothy Michael McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And Jackson wants to talk Cardinal baseball with the spring training report. What do you got?
You nervous about Kyle Gibson and that ERA that sits at what, 10? It's like what?
10.80.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 3.8.
No, you have a different number. Yours rounds down 7.
Yeah, I was generous.
I have to say, I got to be consistent, and it goes both ways. And even if it fits a narrative, I still have to stick to the principle. The principle is the guiding light, Jackson. I want you to think about that.
Oh, wow.
The principle is the guiding light. Was that on CBS? Did you watch Guiding Light? I bet you
was
did.
that like an after-school special?
No, it was a soap opera.
Oh, I can't watch that.
And he's saying he's out there and he's just throwing his cutter trying to get it right, and then Jazz Chisholm hits a monster 3-run home run off him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I do know that guys try to work on things, especially when they don't have to worry about making the team.
Yeah, and pitchers more so, I feel, than anything else.
Now, with that established, knowing that you have most likely Michaelis, Lynn, Gibson, Matz going up against the Dodgers, who opened up the baseball season this morning, which you might not be aware of, in Korea against the San Diego Padres and won 5-2. That's a concerning 4-game situation there. Over under 1.5 wins in that series. Where are you going?
Oh, wow. 4-game set.
Right. To open up the season a week from tomorrow.
You know what? Little optimist over here.
Oh, my gosh. Look at this guy.
Over in Chavez Ravine. Chavez Ravine. There you go. I got it there. Chavez Ravine. Over 1.5. I think they'll split it. They'll split the series. They'll lose.
I don't want to be cheering against him, so I won't bet you on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think they'll split the series in LA.
Wow. Look at you.
I got to be.
And off to San Diego they go and then come home to take on Skip Schumacher.
Marlins are pretty talented this year.
The Marlins
are good.
Playoff team.
Yeah, so concerning. That's kind of what my question was on this particular spring training report brought to you by E&B Granite.
Thank you.
Is, Doug talked about today on TMA that the Cardinals opened up the season with some tough opponents. It's not going to be a real gentle handshake, as we talked about last week. It's going to be some of the best teams, some teams that are probably going to be there come October. Do you think a rocky start could really kneecap this team? Or, you just, I just feel like our culture more so now is like very short attention span. First 2 weeks of the season, they start out real rough.
I was telling my son something the other day. I don't know if you ever heard it before, and that's trust the process.
Yeah, I do. Me and Embiid talk daily.
And I know there's absolutely no way to prove it, but for real, in 2004, I remember probably even saying to some of the guys on the team, but the 2004 Cardinals did not start off. Why don't you go to Baseball Reference and look at the 2004 Cardinals and their record? At some point, it was kind of like lurking around 500, or it wasn't, but they were just, the way they were playing, you're just like, man, there's something here. And that's before they got Larry Walker. So in other words, why do I say trust the process, that what has become cliche? You can usually get an idea of the raw materials on a team through the first month or so. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, the two Cardinal World Championship teams in the 21st century were not teams that at the end of September you thought were going to win the World Series. And then two of the best teams we've seen in the 21st century, at least regular season-wise, and I don't know which, I know people would use 2004 as an example, did not win the World Series. But overall, they were certainly great teams. Otherwise, they wouldn't be 100-plus win teams, whether you're going 2004, 2005, 2000, 2009, take your pick, 2015, hell, I don't know, they won 100 games. So even if they are losing games, but you're getting guys going fairly deep into ball games, Goldschmidt and Arenado are hitting the ball hard, maybe the numbers wouldn't be there. That's different than them just getting worked over and the team looking overmatched. So that's why I don't want to just focus on the actual outcome, wins and losses, and see how guys are performing. And there are statistics that help deem that go beyond wins and losses, which may sound counterintuitive to people, but that's what I subscribe to. Jackson, what do you have there for you? You're doing a little research over there.
So basically until very late in May, they were about a 500 team.
Right.
And then come June, they got hot and moved past that.
And they wound up winning 105 games?
They won that season, Tim. They won 105 games.
Yeah. So they were a 500 team through May. But truly, and I don't know how many people would remember this, and I certainly don't blame you. If anything, your brain functions normally if you don't remember it. But I do remember it, and I remember thinking, man, this is kind of encouraging because this team, they're playing some good baseball, and I think they've got some things going on here that might fly under the radar. And keep in mind, it wasn't like there was momentum after the 2003 season. Reason I bring that up is because the Cardinals are going to be playing the caliber of opposition they're going to be playing, in particular at the beginning of the season. I still think you can get a sense for how players are performing, even if the team isn't necessarily winning games. And I use the 2004 Cardinals as an example, because I realize that might sound insane, like I'm, taking acid or something, but there really is something to that. Meanwhile, for example, the Cardinals were losing games in sloppy fashion last April, and I still thought, okay, they've got to turn it around. They've got to turn it around. Remember, they lost a day game in San Francisco at the end of April last year, and Ali Marmol goes, this loss will help us come September. And you're like, yeah, and as weird as it sounds, you go, okay, yeah, because of course they'll be there in September, because when hadn't they been there in September? Right. And then you just kind of go, okay, you're taking it for granted because this team just does not have it. Yeah. Even there was a series against the Cubs, and I think there was a controversial call or play or something like that fairly late in the season where you're going, okay, maybe they're about to turn it around just because you expect the Cardinals to be there. Well, you expect Arenado and you expect Goldschmidt to perform, but maybe the decline has begun. So where I would isolate in on is, are those guys showing signs of better at-bats, harder hit baseballs? How are you seeing Mason Wynn in his first full year? Jordan Walker in his full second year? Nolan Gorman? Where's the health of Nootbaar and Edman?
Yeah.
And how is the back end of the bullpen performing as well? And yes, wins and losses, of course, matter. I mean, hell, I would take a win with a game you didn't feel they played well in over a loss in which you feel they did play well in. See last night's Blues loss. But because of the caliber of the offense, yeah, even if they're, or the opposition, I should say, even if the season is off to a, let's say 4-6 or 3-7 start, and if they're playing some good baseball, I'd be the first one to say that, because there is, with a 162-game season, a big sample size.
Can you name the starting rotation for the Cardinals in 2004?
At the start of the season, Chris Carpenter, Woody Williams, Matt Morris, Jeff Suppan, Jason Marquis. Yeah. I mean, at some point, we don't get surprised when Tiger Woods makes putts to win majors.
Yeah, better than most.
Better than most. Johnny, that's better than most. How about in? Better than most. Better than most.
Masties, a little less than a month?
The Players, 2001. And Tiger Woods, for the record, just announced he is in the field for the Masters.
Augusta? Nice.
How do you do? Now, whether or not he finishes.
Friday, he'll be on the back of a golf cart
Right.
waving
Whether or not
the
he
premises.
finishes, or if he's like 8 over on Saturday, he might go, I think I'm going to go back to Jupiter. Get on DJ's boat.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. Final segment coming up. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN.
Dry up that wet basement with Woods, the all things basement tea experts at woodsbasementsystems.com.
Bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circus Sports is now available in Illinois. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I've been a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. We're excited that the Circus Sports app is now ready for action. Experience big app bets with high betting limits, tight money line splits, and more. Now you can download, fund, and bet like a pro from anywhere in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
When it comes to beautiful lawns, nothing cuts like a Gravely zero-turn mower. And there's nothing like Gravely's Mow the Distance sales event starting the 27th. Save up to 25% with special financing available only at your local Gravely dealer. Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson on 101 ESPN.
Driven by Munganast and Burkhardt, Alton Toyota.
Welcome back. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. My name is Tim McKernan. That's Jackson Burkett. And we have one more segment left of this program before BK and Ferrario come in at 11 o'clock. Hey, the NCAA men's basketball tournament is here. And you can come watch the games this Thursday and Friday with 101 ESPN and Bud Light. This Thursday, you can join BK and Ferrario live from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Fast Lane from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. broadcasting from Cyberg's in O'Fallon, Illinois. And then on Friday, you can join both shows broadcasting live from Helen Fitzgerald's on Lindbergh. Wingy, Jackson. Wingy, and crinkle cut fries. How do you do?
Wings, crinky cuts, dipping said crinky cuts in the wing sauce, and then watching NCAA Tournament basketball is like, that's just inject it right here, baby.
And also the first round of the Valspar. Come enjoy some food, a cold Bud Light, 101 giveaways, plenty of screens to watch all the games and more. Get more details at 101ESPN.com. Jackson, do you have a final question that we can do here in this final segment of Munganast St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota's Balloon Party?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Nice.
And actually, it leads it perfectly to that promo you just read about the tournament.
Well, you talk about the tournament.
Talk about the tournament. Big dance, the big dance. You talk about the tournament. You talk about free throws and late game situations. You talk about Kent State and their situational awareness. You talk about Long Beach State firing their coach, yet the coach still being the one who's leading them in this tournament. You talk about Virginia and Tony Bennett. Now, there's storylines this tournament, because we talked about yesterday how your interest in college basketball and the tournament in general isn't where it once was, but there's still some storylines you want to follow, maybe some upsets that you have, something that you like in this tournament, you know, as people are getting fired up for it.
Oh.
I don't know.
Not really, honestly. Yeah. I got to be honest. I mean, what am I going to do? Lie to the audience and just start doing that?
I wouldn't want you to do that, Tim.
I can't do that.
I hear you.
Here's the deal. I'm betting on Purdue to win it. So I'm creating my own interest.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
You are going to give me 10 things to watch, though, in the NCAA tournament right now. Here's Jackson's 10 things to watch. Click through.
I think there's some really cool storylines out there. Like I mentioned the Long Beach State. They literally fired their coach a week ago, and he's still he's like, no, I'm not leaving, and I'm going to coach them. And Arizona is a team that lost in the first round to a 15 seed last year.
I'm looking forward to watching Illinois play. I was looking forward to Illinois and Providence, two specific teams. Yep. Betting Purdue plus 625 to win. That's where, now Providence is out. People are like, yeah, look, this is like the Florida State thing when they played Georgia and then none of their players played. Well, I think Kim English had 7 guys playing last night for Providence. I don't know where they all went in the NIT.
Right,
It remain the same thing.
Oh, no. And that's a big reason why a lot of coaches just turn down the NIT invitation in general.
But with regard to Illinois, I'm intrigued to see what they do. I'll be pulling for them. I mean, it certainly isn't the level of my emotion for my alma mater, but I pulled for them. I mean, one of the greatest college basketball games I've ever seen was their comeback against Arizona in 2005. So with that said, Jackson, yeah, I'll get into it, but my investment's going to be in Purdue financially.
Yeah, that's the better move in terms of I make brackets all the time every year, like everyone does, but like betting games is really fun to do on that, like with your friends, just like hanging out, betting on long shots, having that. It's fun. I describe it as fun.
You like New Mexico if you want a long shot.
New Mexico's in my Elite Eight. I'm not joking.
Well, you talk about the tournament.
I'm not joking. They're in my Elite Eight. I really like New Mexico. And then Tennessee is my winner, in case anyone's wondering. Tennessee. Which means I have them beating your Boilermakers in the Elite Eight.
Good luck to Rick Barnes.
Matt
Painter,
yeah. He needs a strategic beard badly.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's good to take.
He's put on it. Yeah, listen, hey, I'm not judging.
Wow, look at you.
I'm not trying to, Tim. I'm not trying to judge, but
lead and mean. Wow.
That's yes. Everyone's
lead and mean. What do you think of Jackson? Well, he's a lead and mean.
Yeah. Another question I might have for you, Tim, is another big dance style of question.
I like this question. I looked it up and I saw what you were asking. I like this.
What St. Louis sports team in the last 24 years, so I'll go back to 2000, do you think has pulled off the biggest upset? Now, we're not talking college basketball exclusively here. Any team. The biggest upset.
I feel like there's got to be one that I am missing that is super obvious because in my mind, I couldn't immediately come to one. I mean, the Cardinals were a monster underdog to the Detroit Tigers in the 2006 World Series. That should be noted. the Rams were a monster favorite against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 36, but I know that's not the question. The question is which St. Louis area team has pulled off the biggest upset.
I was thinking along the same lines as your Tigers one, 06 Cardinals against the Mets. The Mets were sick.
Yeah, I think the Tigers were viewed even higher, but because the Mets were without Pedro, so that was kind of kind of wobbly there. But there was the thing, the Tigers in 3, if you remember that.
Oh yeah, and they just
I'm sure people are texting in things. So, what would you say biggest upset in for a St. Louis team?
Yeah, and also what team got most upset? That's
the Rams against the Patriots.
Yeah, that's the team.
That's I don't know. I mean, I know you would probably go Norfolk Stating, but the Rams losing to the Patriots is a 2-touchdown favorite. That's up there as an all-timer in sports, unfortunately. Text it in, 314-399-9646. There's got to be. That's the thing. Yeah, the whole 2011 postseason for the Cardinals. I will say, it's probably not necessarily viewed this way because it was an LDS, but the 2011 Phillies are one of the best teams as far as the rotation goes I've seen watching baseball in my life.
That team was stacked.
Oh, my God. I mean, and it's not just the rotation because the Diamondbacks were Schilling and Johnson,
right? But
the offense was not really much to talk about.
Luis Gonzalez.
It was Luis Gonzalez, truly.
Yeah.
And with that team, they had a lineup as well. I mean, they had the MVP and Ryan Howard, but they also had a rotation that was just absurd with Halladay and Lee and Hamels and Oswalt, and then again, Halladay in that 5-game series. So that was a big upset. Beating the Brewers wasn't that big of an upset. It was amusing. And the Rangers were a very good team as well. But I would say the win against the Phillies was the biggest upset of that whole group.
Let me ask you, Tim, before you head to the text line real quick. If the Blues would have beat the Avalanche 2 years ago in the playoffs, would that be...
I think it'd be up there.
It'd be up there.
Because that Avalanche team was truly viewed as, perhaps the best one of the best cup-winning teams, at least of the 21st century since the 02 Red Wings. And maybe somebody had cited one of the Penguins team. People are going back to the 1960s, and I understand that the 64 Cardinals, they made a comeback. But Jackson was saying from 2000 and on, as we try to include everyone.
Yeah, all the friends.
The youngs, as well as the olds. And I realize the Stanley Cup, right, as far as once they got into the Stanley Cup playoffs, people are going, there's no way they can win the Stanley Cup. Like if this year's Blues team won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, right.
It's a different deal.
Totally.
Now, if you would have said on January 1st of 2019 the Blues were going to win the Stanley Cup, you'd go, okay, sure.
Right.
But by the time mid-April rolled around, I remember specifically, I'm going, this might actually be it. But getting to the Western Conference Finals is a big deal in St. Louis, much less getting past it and then actually winning the Stanley Cup. But the thing is, by the time they got there, you didn't feel like there was a team they couldn't beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a different thing. But yes, as of January 1st, absolutely. Just like as of August 15th in 2011, if you would have said the Cardinals are going to win the World Series, you would have said absolutely not. What time is it? I'm already like 11:10. I feel like I'm going on.
SLU beat, I want to say South Carolina in the tournament one year. Rob Lowe was knocking down threes. The guy from down under, I think it was a Jordan Jethera team. They were really good. I remember that one, but I don't know if that.
I guess there really isn't a clear one.
No.
Like as far as a game goes,
and it's tough in pro sports too. Like it's so much different than college. Like when you think college,
but the New England Patriots doing it to the Rams, and I do think the 06 Cardinals. I just think it's kind of got some distance, and they won it, and the Tigers played so badly to think that was like a team that was considered to be so good. I mean, they swept through the A's in 4, and they had to sit around for a week.
Maglio.
Maglio Ordonez walk-off. All right, time for us to go. BK and Ferrari are up next for Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.